Hi.
Hello.
Can you tell me your name and a little bit about yourself, where you're living now, and when you lived in McTier?
Yeah. So my name is Victoria Hubickey. I live in Washington, D.C. I've been there for about 4 years. I'm an attorney. I lived in McTier as an undergrad from 2008 to 2011.
And what languages did you study when you were at Vanderbilt?
I studied Spanish and Portuguese.
And what was your motivation to study language at Vanderbilt? Why did you study language at Vanderbilt?
I just always had an interest in languages. My mother's from South America, so we grew up hearing Spanish, speaking it to her, but I wanted to get more like formal training of it here at Vanderbilt.
Excellent. And so which one did you study more, Spanish or Portuguese?
I would say Portuguese. I took a couple Spanish, and was already fluent when I got to Vanderbilt. So I was interested in learning a different language, and so I started taking Portuguese my sophomore year and really fell in love with it, and the professors continued that till graduation.
Excellent. Did you do any type of study abroad, or did you have any overseas experience while you were studying at Vanderbilt?
Yes, it was. I did a summer in Buenos Aires, Argentina. It was through the Vanderbilt Army ROTC program. I was a cadet at the time, and they sent me over there for a cultural immersion program for 2 months.
And tell me about that. What was that like?
That was awesome. We were a small group of about 20 cadets from different universities. I was the only Vanderbilt student that went. And we spent, the summer traveling Argentina. So we spent most of our time in Buenos Aires, and then we went to different regions, like the northern region, the western region, and we took cultural classes, learned about the history of Argentina, and we also did community service projects in the various cities.
And how did your study at Vanderbilt previous to going overseas help prepare you for this program?
It helped me just in terms of the tools I needed to be successful in the program, like an understanding of Spanish and just being able to act in a group, because a lot of the projects you did were teamwork based. So.
Okay, great. I have a question which might seem a little bit interesting or strange to you, but the answer might be interesting. How did your study of Portuguese influence your study of Spanish, or how did your study of Spanish influence your study of Portuguese, vice versa?
So my handle on Spanish really motivated me to learn Portuguese, because I wanted something new but not something totally different. So when I started Portuguese, it was just such an interesting experience, because I would look at the words and it looked like Spanish but sounded totally different. So that challenge really interested me, and then just also the culture of Brazil. Like I've heard a lot about like the Brazilian people, and so once I started taking classes, that really showed me like how cool of a culture that is, and so I just got really, really involved with that here.
Excellent. And when you actually finished Vanderbilt, what did you do next?
I took a year off. Well, I didn't take a year off. I actually worked. I was a translator because I spoke Spanish at a nonprofit immigration law firm here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's just right up the road from the university, Tennessee Justice for Our Neighbors. And I was kind of testing the waters to see if I wanted to be an attorney. And I really loved what I did, and I loved working with clients. I loved using my Spanish, and so I applied for law school in D.C. at George Washington, and I got accepted, and I headed on up to D.C., and that's where I am now.
Excellent. Are you an attorney in the firm there now?
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And did your language background somehow or another play into getting the position in the firm that you have at this point?
Yes, it did. I think they definitely like to see candidates who have language skills. If you could speak more than 2 languages, that's even a plus. So I know that helped me stick out from other candidates. And actually in my practice, my law firm encourages pro bono work, and there's a lot of immigration pro bono work to be done, and I represented a client by myself who only spoke Spanish, and so obviously my Spanish skills came into play there.
Excellent. So you feel as though studying a foreign language at Vanderbilt was some sort of an advantage to you in terms of getting a job?
Yes, definitely. It sets you apart. Especially in the practice of law, you're dealing now with clients not only in the U.S. but all over the world. So law firms are looking to hire people who are able to not only be effective communicators, but if you could communicate in a different language and be able to, communicate with clients overseas, that's puts you ahead of the game.
Excellent. Is there one moment in your language learning or language use experience which you would define as being, well, the paper says, memorable or transformative? Is there some moment that you remember from the whole experience that you would say this was an important moment in the whole experience?
In McTier?
In McTier and in your career.
I guess in terms of the decision to really focus on my language skills, I mean, coming back to this one client I've represented, if I wasn't able to speak Spanish, that would have we would have used a translator, but it really would have delayed the process in terms of trying to coordinate our schedules with the translator. And so being able to just really connect with her on that personal level, I'm here, I understand you, really helped me represent her that much better. But in terms of the McTier experience, I think something that really has stuck with me is just the relationships in McTier. There were two foreign exchange students from Brazil, and I met them and I thought they were nice, but it turns out that we became really, really good friends, and 5 years after graduation, I'm still really good friends with them. I visited them in Brazil. They got married. I attended my friend's bachelorette party, and we talk on a monthly basis. So something I took away from McTier, besides all this, language skills, is the relationship.